my name is Beck and welcome to a short little to be read video because I'm going to be participating in a readathon, but it only goes for a week. So I believe it goes from the 20th to the 26th of July. It is the reading rush and I did this last year, and previously it's been called the booktubeathon. So the goal is generally just to read as much as you can and as much as you want to, but of course there are challenges that go with it. So I have set aside a bunch of books that I already own and that I want to finish reading because I'm like 11 or 12 books behind on my Goodreads goal. So I thought I would try and catch up as much as I could. And so I'm going to try and read a bunch of short books and see which challenges they fit, but I'm not too fussy about whether they fit the challenges or not. I kind of just want to get through as much as I can. So the first challenge is to read a book that is the same color as your birthstone, and my birthday is in May and my birthstone is an emerald, and I actually don't really have many green books left on my reading pile because my reading pile is only like 39 books and I don't want to pick up anything new, but one of the books that I've got has green as well as a bunch of other colors on the cover, so I'm just going to count that one. And that book is A Shadow's Breath by Nicole Hayes. This is a Love Oz YA book, so it's an Australian young adult and it's a contemporary, but it follows two characters, Tessa and Nick, and it looks like they are trapped in a car after they take a corner too fast. And so it tells it from two perspectives, I think, or two timelines, I guess. One is when they're in the car at that moment of the accident, and then the other is time leading up to that accident. And so it sounds fairly fast paced, and because it's YA and contemporary, it's probably going to be a fairly quick read as well. And because it's Australian, I just want to read it. I've got a few Aussie books on this TBR, so I've just had them sitting around and I actually need to get to them. So that's why this is here. The second challenge in this readathon is to read a book that starts with the word the, and I actually don't have any of those left. So out of the books that I have in my reading pile, it is out of camera just down here, I have Holding Up the Universe, and I'm fully aware that this doesn't count, but I know that I want to read this, so that's why I'm putting it on here. I think it's signed actually. Yeah, I met Jennifer Niven a couple of years ago and she was absolutely lovely, and so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I did like All the Bright Places by her, and I don't really know what this one is about. On the back it says you are wanted, you are necessary, you are loved, and it just sounds like a love story, to be honest. So I think it's something that I might need to read because it sounds like it will be fluffy but also hard hitting at the same time. Now the third challenge is to read a book that is inspired by a movie you've already seen, and I'm kind of pushing it for this challenge because I'm reading Fruits Basket and I'm up to volume 8, and I actually saw the original anime when it first came out, and it's actually had a reboot on the anime, so it follows the manga instead because the anime ended oddly because it wasn't up to date in the manga at the time, so it had to kind of make up the ending. But now it's come back, it looks beautiful and I haven't seen it yet, but I'm rereading the manga because I read it years ago and I want to refresh my memory because I remember adoring this story. And it is a very, very fluffy, cute story, and it's got like a supernatural twist to it. So our main character is Toru Honda, and her mother has passed away and she is trying to be independent and she is determined not to be a burden on anyone, and so she's living in a tent by herself and trying to maintain her normal life, when one day she actually stumbles into a mansion and estate, and it turns out to be the Soma estate, and that is the family that we follow in here, and they kind of take her in because she's really not got anywhere else to go, and she accidentally falls into one of them, and it turns out that if they are hugged by a member of the opposite sex, they turn into an animal of the Chinese zodiac because of a long-standing family curse. So it's about Toru trying to bring everyone out of their shell. It's about navigating this family curse, and it really plays on fluffiness of elements in here. It's really cute and funny, but at the same time it has an undertone of tension and darkness that you have to push forward through to, I guess, find the love in the relationships that come across here. And it's just a wonderful series, and I loved it when I read it for the first time like more than 10 years ago, so that's why I'm rereading it again now, and it's a perfect excuse to start the 8th volume, which I've been dragging my heels on. The fourth challenge is to read a book that you touch, and I think I'm just gonna lay my books out, shut my eyes and pick one that way, and that's what I'll probably start the readathon with. So that seems like a fairly odd challenge, but it seems like a fairly unique one as well, and it's one that I can easily just fit into my vlog, so I'm gonna save that one for a later date. Number 5 is to read a book completely outside of your house, and given that it's winter here, it is very cold, so I don't really want to go outside that much, but if I do, I have a couple of short books that I can potentially include for this challenge, and they are volumes 9 and 10 of Attack on Titan. This is another manga that I'm reading at the moment, and these are volumes that I have unread and I want to continue on with. So I read volume 8 recently and I adored it, and if you don't know, this is a dystopian series and it's fairly dark, so if you don't want to stray into the world of gore and apocalyptic situations, probably avoid this, but it's actually really, really gritty and I really like it for that reason. And we follow Eren and a couple of other characters, and they all live in this city that has multiple layers of walls, and outside of the walls are the Titans, and the Titans try to break into eat and kill all the people inside. So it's an apocalyptic situation where there's a guard that attacks the Titans to protect the civilians, and that's what Eren is. So it has a lot of high stakes moments, it has a lot of action, and it also has politics that are starting to creep into it as well with the higher ups in the cities. So it's really, really interesting. It's so twisty and turny and I can't see anything coming. So I'm looking forward to continuing on with reading these next 2 volumes in the series. Challenge number 6 is to read a book in a genre that you want to read more of. And I've actually been putting this book off for many, many years. The book is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and this is, I believe, the illustrated edition. Yeah. And it is in a genre that I don't read, which is contemporary, I guess. And I believe it follows a young boy who is trying to navigate his feelings of grief because his mother has an illness that is not named, but it's something like cancer and it's terminal and she is slowly dying, and so he has to come to terms with that. And it sounds like a really dark and emotional book, and that's why I've been avoiding it, because I don't want to get sad. But I feel like it's a book that I'm going to really thoroughly enjoy and give 5 stars because it's so dark and sad. So I need to stop avoiding it and actually just read it and see what I think. And then question number 7 is to read a book that takes place on a different continent to where you live. And because I live in Australia, pretty much any of the books that I read don't take place here unless they're Australian YA. So I can use all of the manga for that question, but I actually have 2 books left on this to be read pile that I want to show off. And they are Australian YA, so they don't count for the last question, they just count towards me personally finishing my reading pile. The first one is Valentine by Jodie McAllister, and I believe this follows a girl who is an angry teenager, and she is born on Valentine's Day, and a bunch of strange things start happening to her and 3 others who are also born on Valentine's Day. So I believe it incorporates the Fae, and I don't know much more than that, to be honest. I met Jodie and she's wonderful, and I don't know how I'm going to go with this book because it just seems outside my wheelhouse and potentially a little bit young for me, but I'm willing to give it a try anyway because it's by a local author. So I wanted to include it on here because I've again had it for a very long time. And I also have A Town Called Dust by Justin Woolley, and this is another Australian one, and it's a post-apocalyptic story, and it's a zombie apocalypse story set in like the Australian desert, and then humanity in this desert is kept safe by a large border fence. That's all I really know, and it follows a young girl, I think, named Squid. Oh no, it's a young boy. It's a young boy named Squid. That's it. That's all I know. So these are the last 2 I want to add. So this is my reading rush to be read pile. I know it's only like 7 days that I'm going to have this readathon going for, but I want to blast as much of this off my to be read pile as I possibly can. So I think I'm being a little bit ambitious with like holding up the universe wherever it is, because I know that that's a smaller font with a YA book, but the others have a bigger font. So hopefully I can make some headway and read a couple of manga in like the same day or something, and that'll knock like 3 off this list already. So we'll see how I end up going. Let me know if you're participating in the reading rush this round as well, and I will chat to you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.